On this show, we have flagged the pollution crisis again and again. The air emergency choking North India and several other parts of the country isn't just a health hazard anymore, it's a national liability. Just yesterday, we showed you how global voices warned that pollution is hurting India more than tariffs, bleeding the economy and damaging credibility, ease of doing business, all of that. Tonight, we expose another cost. Toxic air is threatening India's ambition to become a global sporting powerhouse. How? Because think about that. India wants the 2036 Olympics, the biggest sporting event on earth, to happen here. Ahmedabad is the front runner. The bid gained momentum after India secured the 2030 Commonwealth Games as well. But amongst all the challenges staring this dream in the face, pollution tops the chart. Here's the proof. At the India Open in Delhi, world number 3, Anders Anderson refused to play. Reason? Pollution. Singapore's Law Keen also competed but publicly slammed Delhi's air quality. Two of the world's best badminton players, both sounding the same alarm. The rot isn't limited to international sport. In 2025, India's under-23 knockout matches were shifted from Delhi to Mumbai. Again, severe air pollution. During the 2023 ODI World Cup, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh skipped practice sessions. Pollution again. And the most damning image came in 2017. Sri Lankan cricketers in Delhi struggling to breathe, players vomiting, masks on the field, scenes that should never define a sporting nation. So today, as India dreams of hosting the Olympics, one question must be asked. Can a country that can't guarantee clean air really host the world's biggest sporting event? Are we ready? What about our own athletes? How are they even practicing in this air? Nikhil Naz, my colleague, joins us for more on this. Nikhil, we've been sort of debating this for a while, that how does India even put its bid forward, what exactly will happen. We remember what happened in the last Commonwealth. That time the challenge was a little different. This time, all eyes on not just conditions inside the stadium, but the air outside.
Well, that's right, Sonal. I don't know where to start because this is a damning indictment of the state of affairs here in India, and it hurts India on multiple fronts. You talk about organizing the Olympic Games. The latest we are hearing is that not just those athletes that you've just mentioned in your report, but a host of other athletes have written to the Athletics Commission, that is part of the International Olympic Committee, complaining about playing high-level or top-level international tournaments in India because of air pollution. I know, people will talk about that maybe this was restricted to Delhi, but that's not quite the case. We've seen it in other venues as well. Quite recently, I've given that example earlier as well, where we saw Hardik Pandya wear a mask ahead of a game. You had other teams complaining. So the issue just doesn't pertain to Delhi per se. It's the entire northern belt. And I think, for a country that's so sensitive about its own image, if you have a bunch of top-level athletes writing to the International Olympic Committee that India is not suitable to be playing because of pollution, I think this is something that the government needs to wake up to. But unfortunately, you showed those images and that are also fresh in my mind. Way back in 2017, you had a scenario where the Sri Lankan players were vomiting, complaining of their eyes itching, and you had to cancel a game in the national capital. I would have assumed that 9 years would have been enough time to try and fix that situation. But unfortunately, nothing really has happened on that front. I take you, China was on a similar level. Remember, China is a sporting powerhouse, not only in terms of the medals that they win, but also in terms of hosting top-level international events. As I said, this is going to hurt India on two counts. One, not getting top-level events, and two, not being able to produce top-level athletes. How do you expect a kid to be playing, who's staying in north of India, to be playing a sport? Because you need to get, 10,000 hours minimum minimum for a kid to go on to become a professional sports person. 6 months of a year, you cannot be playing sport in India. Why? 4 months you've got pollution, then 2-3 months of extreme heat conditions where you cannot be practicing. So how do you produce the next level athlete? I must tell you that the North Belt usually is the strongest when it comes to producing it
Yeah.
in terms of per capita producing your top athletes. But I tell you what, they are produced despite the system. Next time Indian athlete misses out on a medal, blame it on pollution, not on anything else. I tell you why? Because it affects your lung capacity. It affects those marginal differences that you see between winning a medal and losing out. Because even athletes that made it to the top level have to practice in these conditions. Year on year, their lung capacity is being harmed. Year on year, that affects their performance, and that is why you will fall short of winning medals. So as I said, not being able to organize an event is the big problem. Not being able to produce the next level of athletes is problem number two. And thirdly, even the athletes that you've produced participating at the top level will not be able to give their best and will always start at a disadvantage compared to everyone else. This is a national emergency that needs to be addressed.